Everything is so happy.
I mean, it's better than it was at the end of season 1. We'll say a little bit better.
Yeah, sure.
Nobody's kidnapped.
Yeah, sure.
Welcome to First Reaction Fan Reaction. I'm your host, Dara Whitman, and here with me is my co-host,
Cailin Clothier.
How you doing?
This was a really rough day for me.
And last night was even rougher because we saw 50 Shades Free.
I know. So for those who don't know, we record, a couple of these at once. So we have gone through the end of season 1 and the beginning of season 2 all in one day. And this is a lot for me to process.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lot for me to emotionally process right now.
Yeah, and I remember because I was like, I rewatched the episodes just like get notes sometimes, and I was like, I'm just gonna rewatch like the other episodes, that we weren't gonna record today, and I was just like, oh, I remember these.
Oh man.
Okay.
Oh yikes.
All right, so we're starting season 2 of Orphan Black.
Yay!
Hooray!
Season 2.
How first reaction to the season so far?
It feels like a season 2.
So far?
Yeah, it feels like season 2. Like, this feels like a second season. So, make of that what you will.
I don't really know what that means. It's just like
I don't really either, but
I feel like a lot. I guess with season 2, you feel like it's getting more intense.
I feel like there's a lot more. Like, it just goes full lore when you hit to a second season. Like, first season is, gets a lot of, the basics and stuff. But season 2 is when they just, blow the door wide open. They just start being like, hey, things get deep.
And that's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, there's some more shit here.
Yep. All right. So, let's start off with season 2, episode 1, Nature, Under Constraint, and Vexed. I just want to check the thing real quick. Because we said... that the season 1 episodes were, all the titles were quotes from The Origin of Species.
Yes.
Season 2 is quotes from the works of Sir Francis Bacon. Bacon?
Francis Bacon?
Or
yeah,
Bacon?
No, Bacon.
Okay.
You just say Bacon. Philosopher.
Yep.
He's a philosopher.
Good job.
Yes, I do know who Bacon is. Mr. Bacon. Mr. Francis.
All right, so we start off right after where season 1 ended. Like, literally, probably seconds.
Yeah, probably 30 seconds that it took for... Sarah to get from Akira's room to on the street.
Just running. She's running because,
She's running frantically because that's what you do.
Yep, and she's trying to call anybody because, of the few names she has on her phone. She calls Felix. Felix is not answering because of he's doing something.
He's busy at the moment.
He's busy. She calls Allison and Kasima. Their phones are disconnected.
Yes.
And then she calls Paul. Paul doesn't answer, but she leaves a message to him. Mm-hmm. And it's just what is going on?
Yeah.
But she goes into a diner, and you were, convinced that something was up with the diner guy.
It could have been. Well, you were like, it's a trap. It's a trap. And I was like, I don't know. Is it? He could just be a really nice dude.
Like Stranger Things.
Literally, this was the Stranger Things situation.
Although this came out before. I think this came out before Stranger Things.
Yeah, it did.
So.
But it was a very similar situation. Yeah,
and he's but he's a really nice guy. He gives her a free cup of tea.
Yeah.
It's nice. And a towel.
Mm-hmm.
He's a nice guy. Mm-hmm. But as she's sitting down, 2 cowboys come in?
Yeah.
Because why not?
Because why not? Because it's season 2 and we can do whatever the fuck we want. Okay.
Before that, Paul calls her back.
Yeah.
So Paul calls Sarah back. Well, his number calls back. Rachel actually calls.
Yes.
And wants her to surrender herself or else if she wants to see Kira again.
Right.
And then 2 cowboys come up because why not?
Yeah, sure, why not? Season 2.
And
whatever the fuck we want.
She puts up her hood again, as they're walking really close by.
Yeah, that does anything. My girl, Sarah, my friend, putting your hood up does literally nothing. Mm-hmm. Literally nothing.
Also, they have, the weird conversation with this diner about eggs.
Yeah, about free-range eggs. Free-range chickens who lay the eggs.
That's all we're good for.
It's a metaphor.
That's all we're good for.
It's a metaphor.
Oh, God. Oh, Cailin. Mm-hmm. All right. So one of the guys sits down, and I feel bad for this actor because he just looks creepy.
Yeah, he just looks like he's gonna creep on you at a party somewhere.
He I haven't watched Gotham, but he kind of looks like that kid who plays the Joker.
Oh, okay. I don't watch Gotham either, so I couldn't tell you.
I just know I've seen shots. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying if they don't want Jared Leto to be the Joker anymore,
this guy
would be decent.
Seems like he'd be do a good job.
But he says that, because he sits down and they're talking, and he says, we're going to take you to Kira. And one of them also takes Sarah's gun away. And the diner guy, who turns out to be a nice guy, says, let's let the girl leave, and pulls out a shotgun.
Yeah.
But before Sarah can leave, the creepy guy shoots the diner guy in the head.
Just bam.
And then as he falls down, his shotgun goes off and kills the other guy. Mm-hmm. So, R.I.P.
Yeah, so we already have 2 fatalities in, the span of 5 minutes.
It's just Legend of Korra.
It's just like Legend of Korra.
And then there's a scuffle between creepy guy and Sarah, and then she gets out from, busting a wall from the bathroom. Mm. So then she runs. And she runs to a gay bar club.
Yeah, because who else would you find there?
Felix. We find Felix. All of it says is who's wearing quote-unquote interesting clothing.
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
He's wearing assless straps.
And he's high as anything.
Yeah, he's
I remember some people, I read somewhere, they were upset because, they said, you're just turning Felix into a gay stereotype. And I'm just like, if we think about context, he thought everything was okay. And he was probably really stressed out. And we already knew he was kind of a party guy.
Yeah, that isn't outside the realm of, what he was first introduced as,
Yeah, and like we said, Felix is one of the real victims here. He deserved a night out with some drugs and some random sex. Just be safe.
Very well said.
But Sarah tells Felix that Rachel kidnapped Kira, Mrs. S. Felix is he asks the question are you sure it wasn't Helena? And we're saying no, Helena's gone. Mm-hmm. So
Yep, she's out of the picture. She's dead because she was shot.
Mm-hmm. Felix also brings up the point that they're probably tracking her phone. Mm-hmm. But she gets a call anyway, and it's Paul, and she says, just wait for my call, and we'll meet somewhere, and then dumps the phone.
Yeah.
Like you should do.
Nice. She's so smart.
Yep. She then also steals somebody's phone and then goes away. Mm-hmm. Like you do. All right. So then we're back at Felix's place, and we've got Delphine and Cosima on the bed doing crazy science.
They're doing science.
They're taking Cosima's blood.
They actually are doing science.
They actually are doing science. They talk about the diet and what their relationship is, and Delphine says it can be whatever we want. Mm-hmm. And Cosima says, I do my own research before anybody else.
Right.
And there's a hug, and lesbians together, and it's real.
It's not a lie anymore, guys.
It's not a lie.
Or is it?
I would say I was going to spoil it for you at the one point that comes up later. Mm-hmm. I'd say if it wasn't a lie, just to let you know it's not a lie.
Okay.
We're good.
All right. Good.
It's just love.
I'm really glad. What about love? Don't you want someone to care about you?
So then there's that. Then we go to Allison's house, and she wakes up and says, "What the dickens?" Which I've said in conversations. I'm like, "What the dickens is going on?"
I'm not sure I've ever heard you say that though. I may have and just didn't register.
I don't say it often, but sometimes I say it, and then I didn't. I thought I just made it up, and then I heard it on here, and I'm like, "Oh, dang it!" Mm-hmm. Felix shows up. He's still high as a kite.
He is,
but tells Allison about Kira. And he's being very loud and asks for a gun. They want a gun.
Yeah. For protection purposes.
And Allison basically says, I'm trying to get my life together. I'm not drinking anymore. I'm in a musical. And it's not Cats, thank God.
It's not Cats. I'm trying to think, though, because it's weird. That part of the conversation made it sound like it had been a while since the end of the first season, and she's getting her stuff back together. But I was like, no, wait, it was literally a start right after. So it was weird how that was set up. Anyway.
Wait, the fact that she was like, I'm trying to get my life together?
Yeah.
Well, no, because she was kind of acting like that at the end, once she, signed the contract thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I think she was, starting to, get back in there in season one. Mm-hmm. The only thing is, that's brought up is, the musical, which wasn't brought up before.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Right.
I feel.
Yeah, they just kind of shoehorn that one in there.
I mean, granted, if it's over her, having been in musicals before, it sounds like they were close to opening night, so maybe it's just a thing she just because obviously this isn't her entire life,
right?
So it might just be a thing where she only had rehearsals a couple weekends, she wasn't a lead, so who knows? Mm-hmm. It might be one of the main plot holes. Anyway, so Allison says that she has a guy, because she doesn't want to give them one of her guns because they're registered under her.
Right.
But she said she knows a guy, a friend named Ramon.
She's got a buddy named Ramon.
Who sells unregistered guns.
Among other things.
Among plenty of other things. And basically just says okay, tell Sarah to meet me here tomorrow. I'll have the gun. Rachel speaks to someone in German.
Oh, yeah. And then we were kind of talking, so I didn't get to hear what it was.
Well, you kind of got it close because you said it sounded like something about traveling.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like it was. Because of what happens later.
And also my German is super rusty. So I need to
do you speak it like fluently or just conversationally?
It's more conversational than anything.
Okay.
I wish I was fluent. I'm a pretty good, like, I used to be intermediate high, but now I'm just probably like intermediate low. Yeah. Because I suck and I don't practice my German.
Then Sarah gets a call from Paul, or Paul gets a call from Sarah and says, this is how we're going to do it. Go to this bridge and wait for I'll call you. Or like, don't bring your phone. Just like.
Right.
And Sarah, a stranger on a skateboarder dude comes up to Paul and says, ask for $20. Paul gives it to him. And then the phone, gives him a phone. The phone rings and it's Sarah. And they talk. Sarah wants to know where Kira is. Paul, basically at this point, he's not being fully tracked.
Right.
So it just says what he knows, basically saying Rachel's leaving on a plane with Kira soon, and that there's a party at the dyad that night.
Yeah. Gonna go crash a gala.
And Paul says, like, they're after you. You gotta, like, run. And then we see them, like, coming up to the skateboarding park, and there's a girl, like, and you see the back of her head, and it's, like, a dark, like, curly hair thing, and she's on a phone. And then they go up to her, and it's not Sarah.
That was so good.
And then the girl leaves, and she says to Daniel, by the way, she says up yours.
That's so good. Sarah is so good. Like, she's masterful.
She's a good con artist.
She's masterful at what she does.
And she runs away. Like you do. And then she goes on a bus and tries to get another phone from a little kid, which I just found hilarious. Funny. Yeah, it's like, can I have your phone? Can I touch your boob? Grab it. Cheeky. She calls Felix and Cosima. They're trying to come up with a plan to get Kira back. They basically, like, they talk about the party and that Delphine wanted Cosima to go to the party.
Right.
So, like, that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
And they don't really have a plan, and just Sarah wants a gun.
No plan, one gun.
Speaking of the gun, Allison goes to this, like, I guess it's just like a regular supermarket.
Yeah.
And meets Ramon, and he looks about like 18.
Yeah, like really, seriously.
But he has a nice car because apparently he just sells everything.
Like literally everything under the sun, not just guns. He sells like the drugs too.
Like any kind of,
like all kinds of drugs.
Like unnatural, natural.
Yeah, this dude's got it.
And but he does have guns that are unregistered, including one with a lady grip. Gotta love that. Delphine goes to the diet community after that, visits Leaky. And basically they talk about how it seems like Leaky knows that Delphine's playing for the other side. Both ways. And gives her a vial of Cosima's blood and says that, like, she's showing the same symptoms, which you were. Yeah. Which is definitely, I think it's definitely a betrayal, but I don't think it's like a.
Well, like, in an earlier scene, Cosima was like, don't let them get their hands on this, and they get their hands on that, basically.
Yeah, I don't think it's like I'm doing this as like a job thing. I'm doing this as like I think these people can help.
Okay.
Like, I think it's a sad, like, that's, I think she's just like desperate, kind of. But Cosima actually gives the blood samples to her buddy Scott. Oh, Scott.
Good old Scott.
You like Scott?
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't really care.
It's fine. Then we go to the Glendale Community Theater. We get a first look. We get the first look at like the theater group.
Yeah, they're cute.
And we learn
it's like a community theater thing. It's an interesting kind of musical.
Oh, we'll get to that. We will get to that.
Oh my god.
Allison has now. We found out the lead was Ainsley, who cannot do it anymore because, as you remember from the end of season 1,
she's dead.
She's dead.
She did.
She did. And now Allison has the role. So see, everything worked out in the end. All it took was somebody choking to death.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine.
So then there's the rehearsals, and Art and Angie are at the theater. They're still trying to figure out what's going on. They're also happy it wasn't cats. Am I talking about?
Well, it's not cats.
It's good. Cats is terrible.
Hey. What about those memories?
That's a good song. The plot. Tell me the plot of Cats.
Well, okay. So you have some cats, right? It's about as far as I got.
I've seen like Andrew. Remember,
never seen Cats before.
His company does like a couple like stuff on like you can get on like they recorded it sort of as like a movie thing.
Yeah,
and you can get it on like video and DVD. I know because I've seen Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat 100 times when I was a kid.
Nice.
And I saw Cats because I had that too. Because I also went to theater camp. And it's there's no plot. It's just a bunch of singing cats. The songs are good.
You act like that's a bad thing.
It is. I want a plot. I want a goddamn plot. I don't care if there's like a resurrection bullshit and old Deuteronomy and, you know, like I like the song. Like Memory's a gorgeous song.
Memories all alone in the morning.
It's also a really hard song to sing because there's like range. That range thing is insane. I had to sing it one time.
Oh, yeah?
Oh my God, it was insane. Anyway.
Nice.
That is my rant on cats.
All right, that's a good rant.
Thank you.
Good rant.
One day we'll get into more musicals. So they're at the theater and they see Sarah walking by because Sarah's supposed to go to the theater to get the gun. Mm-hmm. Art and Angie arrest her? I don't think they can do that though.
Yeah, I don't really get what that is.
I think it was mainly Angie. And
Angie's like on this. She like wants to figure all this stuff out.
Like I don't hate Angie because of that, but like she's not very like Art's at least like you could tell he cares,
right?
And Angie just kind of doesn't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. And they have Sarah in the car, and they go to the diner, which, as you remember, there was some shootings there, and there was a witness, which was tea drinker. Well, Angie's thinking about Art and Sarah in the car. Sarah tells Art that they have her daughter, and he's like, we'll help you.
Yeah, and the case the case was overtaken by the feds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like they had the local people on it, but then the feds came in, so which is a important
There's
thing.
a lot of people in the pockets.
Yes.
And then Art lets Sarah go. Mm-hmm. So that happens.
Yeah, because they can't do anything to her anyway, so they just let her go.
We cut back to Leaky and Rachel, and Rachel says she needs his office for something, for like a presentation, and that her and Paul are going to Taiwan on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Then it's just Leaky and Rachel, and they have a conversation. And Leaky says, "Did you really kidnap Sarah's family?" Which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The fact that Leaky wasn't like aware of this.
He doesn't seem to be like in on the stuff that Rachel's doing.
Well, it seems, obviously Rachel's not a scientist. Like it seems like Leaky does the science.
He does the science stuff. She does the
business.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And so they don't really, dabble in the other's work.
And that's kind of it, basically. And Rachel's like, "Don't worry about it." Mm-hmm. And he's like, "All right." We go back to Felix's house, and they're trying to figure out a plan. And Ramon stops by with a beautiful flower arrangement.
Yes.
And a lovely card.
How thoughtful. And very sweet of him.
And there's a gun in it.
And he's like, "The surprise is inside."
And then he also sees Sarah and Cosima, and he's just like, oh. I like Ramon.
Ramon's good. We all need a Ramon in our lives.
Well, do we?
You don't know what I do on the side.
You don't do drugs.
But if I would, it'd be good to have a Ramon.
Woman, I have you pegged. You do not do drugs.
I know.
They call Allison to thank her for the gun, and they continue to like try to brainstorm an idea. Mm-hmm. And Allison tells them she's going over to somebody's house at 9 p.m. Mm-hmm. And then Sarah comes up with a plan, and the main thing here is plausible deniability.
Yes.
So Paul calls Sarah. Paul gets a call from Sarah.
Yes.
Daniel picks up and Sarah says, "I will meet you here at 9 p.m. I'm in the red minivan to get Daniel out of the way." And then we also have more plausible deniability because we go to the dyad party and we see Cosima, quote unquote, walking by. And then she says, "Shite." It's Sarah.
It's Sarah. Surprise.
Also, a little bit with Allison. She gets to Sarah Stubbs' house and gets attacked. Kind of, and there's a pepper spray and a rape whistle.
It's so good because she's really good at like self-defense.
And then she gets
into these guys up.
She gets into the car with Daniel, and they're saying like, "We're sorry." That's it.
They're like, "Oh, this was the wrong person." Okay.
So then Sarah is at the party. She really did. She kind of just like messed up her hair a little bit to make it kind of like dreads. Yeah. And then did Cosima's makeup and glasses and that
and her jacket.
So then she's trying to walk by. And Delphine sees her and gives her a kiss.
Nice.
This is also kind of, I really like, I love it when it's like a clone playing a clone, because like Sarah accepts the kiss, but she's kind of like,
yeah. She's like, "Oh, okay." But no, it's so good. It's so good because it doesn't just, I love when one plays the other because it like the kind of combinations it creates is really good.
And then Leaky talks to Cosima, quote unquote. They kind of talk about if she's actually going to work for her. And then she says yes under a couple conditions. Mainly, she wants her own lab, which is nice to do for your sister.
Yeah.
Then she hugs Dr. Leaky, taking his pass. And like the whole time, you're looking at Delphine, and she knows.
She knows. Like she's got it figured out.
Yeah, and then
it doesn't take her long.
And then immediately, as Dr. Leaky leaves, she says, "You're Sarah." Mm-hmm. Like, yep. And then
surprise.
But Delphine tells her where Rachel is, and Sarah goes off.
Yes.
And as Rachel's in a conference with some men after that, so the meeting's done. Sarah goes.
Oh, it's like with the guys. She's talking about a Supreme Court case, which is interesting.
Something with like synthetic.
Yeah, like talking it like kind of like how like their DNA thing works about, it's like, it was interesting.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure it'll come up later.
But Sarah confronts Rachel, and it turns out that Rachel has no idea where Kira is or Mrs. S.
Yeah.
She lied.
Exactly. She lied just because she wanted Sarah to basically come to her.
And Sarah, and like, there's even a thing where Rachel says, like, you're not going to shoot me. And then she points the gun at a plant and shoots it.
Yeah, and Rachel, like, freaks
and then just, like, attacks.
It was so good. It was so good.
And then just says, like, and it's, like, fully tagging her and just says, like, you don't own us. And I keep playing the song, You Don't Own Me, in my head.
You don't own me.
I'm not just one of your many toys. I mean, come on. That's, like, songs kind of perfectly fits with this show.
Don't tell me what to do, and don't tell me what to say.
Anyway, Paul walks in and wants to obviously like get everything settled down, but then Sarah knocks out Rachel and like points the gun at Paul. And I like this. She just like hits him in the face, and he's like, really, the face? And then he's like, let's go, I'll figure it out.
It's good.
And Sarah goes to Art's house. Hooray!
Yes. Yeah,
you were happy about this.
I was. Yeah, well, it was good because Art needed to be let in on some things, and finally.
Well, before that, they talk about Kira.
Yes,
and because he has like the stuff for Maggie Chen out, which is interesting, and Sarah says to him, "The diet people didn't take Kira." He says, "I know they're calling the shooting domestic terrorism. Yeah, they're a religious group." Yes. And they're for lesbians. And the second I heard that when I first watched this, I'm just like, oh, fuck. I was like, terrified.
Oh, my God.
No, I was terrified because, like, here's the thing.
Yes.
Both are not good.
Correct.
But I feel like at least with, like, the neo-illusionist and the dyad, I'm not worried that Kira's going to get murdered.
Right. You're not as worried about, the execution aspect of it.
Like, I feel like no matter what, like, the neo-illusionist would never kill Kira because, like, they'd probably just do a bunch of experiments on her. Yeah. But at least she's not going to definitely die. Correct. I'm not sure about the Proletheans.
Yeah.
Like,
they're super messed up.
Especially considering, like, the whole, like, God thing and, like, Kira might be considered an abomination. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, ugh. Especially that one part, like at the end, where, like, you see her, like, this, like, somebody, like, brushing her hair and for a picture, and you're just like, ugh.
I know.
But anyway, as we see that, we cut to a hospital, and somebody's stumbling around, and it's Helena!
Yeah, she's alive.
Yeah. How are you not surprised? I don't know, like, because, like, she was clearly, like, not moving at the end of season 1.
I know things.
Did you know? Was that spoiled for you?
I'm not sure if it was. I'm not sure, actually. I don't know if I actually knew that. But, like, it's, like, I don't know. She has plot armor. Like, I feel like she's, like, too vital to the plot to, like, die.
I just assumed because, like, she was the bad guy season. I think when I first watched it, I was just like, oh, well, she's the bad guy season 1.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, yeah, she's dead. And, like, the way, like, Sarah shot. Yeah. It was, like, pretty blank in the heart, as we actually works, as explained in the next episode. Yeah. She should be dead. And she's pretty messed up. Mm-hmm. But, with the power of duct tape, she's okay.
Right. It all worked out.
But I love the line where she's just like, excuse me, my sister shot me. And then just falls down. So that was fun. Also, I think probably because of, I think when I finished season 1, I think I did have to wait like a couple months until season 2. Yeah. So you kind of just like, and I'm like, oh, she's dead.
Yeah. Like moved on to other
things. And then
she
comes back, we're just like, what?
Oh, yeah. Can't kill that bitch.
And that's the end of that episode.
Yeah.
So the beginning of season 2, how you doing?
It's certainly a thing that started. It's certainly a thing. Yeah, it set up a lot of like, just a lot of question marks. Just a lot of like, oh, what's going on? Yeah. Because you're unsure of like who's what and when and where and why. Yeah. But it was an interesting kind of start.
Oh yeah, definitely. So yeah, I really like this. I don't know if there's much else to say. It's just a good episode. I feel like a bit more interesting stuff. Like, definitely interesting stuff happened. Like, one, a character you thought was dead is alive. Yeah. There was a musical.
There's a musical.
Art gets more involved.
Yeah.
You're happy about that.
Yeah, I like
But
Art.
I think you see it more in the next episode.
Yeah.
So let's just jump into that.
Let's do that when we come back.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we will come back. Bye.
Stay tuned.
Let's take a minute to talk about a cool site to buy movies and TV shows at really great prices, deepdiscount.com.
Hey, yeah, it's that site we keep talking about, but for good reason.
Because it's our sponsor and an awesome website to find a ton of cool stuff without spending a lot of money. Because as we all know, nobody wants to spend a ton of money.
No, especially us. We do not want to spend a ton of money.
Unless, no, we don't want to spend a ton of money. Even if it's for something really nice, we still don't want to spend a ton of money.
No, we want to get that for as great a discount as we can.
It's always nice if you get it for a great discount, and it's still awesome.
Yes, exactly.
Throughout the entire month of March, Deep Discount is having their Shark Madness site, which is a bunch of stuff at even lower prices if you see several icons and coupon codes.
Yeah, and they have like all kinds of genres on there that you can click in. So it's not just your action, it's not just your comedy. You can get all kinds of stuff.
But also, you can pre-order on 4K Ultra, The Last Jedi.
Yeah, and as you know, if you listen to this show, that we really like that one.
We do. I don't know if I'd say right now it's one of the best Star Wars movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need like to wait a couple.
Yeah,
years.
wait a few years before you like give it an official ranking, but it's up there.
It's up there.
It's up there.
It's definitely up there, and you can pre-order for when it's released on March 27, 2018 on 4K Ultra for about $30.
Hey.
That's a great price for something that is going to look gorgeous on your television.
I know, it's going to look so good.
The name says it all. At deepdiscount.com, everything is deeply discounted. It's crazy how low the prices are. Again, like we said, it's insane. So many shows, so many choices. Blu-rays, DVDs, and even 4K at all great prices. Go to deepdiscount.com. Support our sponsor and be good to yourself. Buy your favorites and watch what you want, when you want. Check it out now. Thank you, Deep Discount.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. All right. We're back.
We're back. Trebek.
Hooray. And
second episode, which is called Governed by Sound Reason and True Religion. Okay, yeah, that sounds totally great.
Sounds like it works.
That sounds totally awesome.
Yeah. We will... Okay, we're going to start off with Sarah. And she is at Art's apartment. Art knows everything now. He's involved.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Great. He's all caught up. And he
believes it. Like, we don't see a point where, like, he doesn't believe it, but, like...
Yeah, he's on board.
He's on board. We're good.
I mean, because it makes sense.
Yeah. Like, what else is it going to be? So they're at Sarah's apartment. Not Sarah's apartment. Art's apartment. And Felix stops by. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of like he's sober now.
Right.
We all good.
Mm-hmm.
He gets a call, and it's from Kira.
Yes. And
Kira's scared. And she's, like, talking on the hotel phone. And she's just like, I don't know where I am. There's a scary man. And the scary man comes in and just, like, disconnects.
Yeah.
And we're just like, oh, no.
This is bad.
Sarah and Art pinpoint where the call came from. It was a hotel. Mm-hmm. Then they go to the hotel. But first, Felix gives them new clone phones.
Yay. And they're season 2 phones.
Yay.
And they're green instead of pink.
Yep.
Nice.
So then they get there. And the hotel people say that they checked that about an hour ago. They go to the hotel room. Sarah finds a picture that Kira obviously drew. Mm-hmm. And then Daniel shows up because hooray.
Got it.
And Art decides to like try to arrest him, I guess.
Yeah, he's trying to get. He's kind of pissed at him. He wants to, I guess, try to get some info off him. Yeah.
Sarah then sees something like Kira's clothing and follows it down to a laundry room. Yeah. Falls to a car. There's like a slow up thing of like there's an open trunk.
Right.
And you're like, what's in the trunk?
What's in the trunk?
Nothing.
Nothing was in the trunk.
Then the creepy guy comes.
I like that weird guy.
Yeah, and says, if you want to see Kira again, get in the trunk.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
That was great. Great time. Great time to be had all around.
All right, let's cut to Allison.
Oh, Allison.
So we start off at Ainsley's funeral.
Yes.
Oh, and like people are just like bad-mouthing Allison.
Yeah, because they're like, why is she here?
Because how could you be here after sleeping with Chad? And I'm like, everybody slept with Chad.
It's not really a special thing at this point. Everyone just does it.
Yeah. But like she's pretty okay. And she's with Donnie and her kids steal some of Ainsley's flowers. Mm-hmm. It's great.
Awesome.
But as Donnie's trying to help the kids like get the flowers back, she sees his phone and there's some interesting text messages.
Yes, some very incriminating text messages.
And then Allison's back on the alcohol.
And yeah, that didn't take long.
Nope. We go back to the musical rehearsals.
Mm-hmm.
And you were just I love how confused you are about this musical.
I don't understand I think I understand what the plot of this musical is, and it seems very relevant.
That it's a murder.
It's about cleaning up a dead body.
Okay, so history on the musical. It's called Blood Ties.
Blood Ties.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it's real.
Is it?
Yeah, it was developed in 2009 by Toronto-based duo Anita Johnson and Barbara Johnson.
Okay.
Akita Johnson and Barbara Johnston.
Oh, man.
And Blood Ties follows 3 friends who return to their hometown for a wedding, only to find themselves forced to clean up after the apparent suicide of the bride's uncle.
Oh my god.
And it's loosely based on something that happened to Johnston's parents.
Oh my god.
So it's real.
Wow, that's wild.
Isn't it? And this is also a great musical for Allison to be doing.
Yes.
And
who has experience.
And she's not doing well, guys. She's going back down the dark path.
Yep.
And then Felix comes to the rehearsal, and they have a discussion basically saying, like, Donnie is my monitor, and Felix is like, calm down, it's probably not, blah, blah, blah. And then Allison admits to Felix that she killed Ainsley. And he's just like, what? And like, she tells him the whole thing. And then she's like, I killed Ainsley. And Felix is like, no. I mean,
kind of.
Not really.
Like a little bit.
But then they have an idea for like bait.
Yes.
We'll go to Cosima real quick.
Okay.
So she's meeting with Dr. Leakey and Delphine. And basically saying, like, were you involved with whatever Sarah did, including kicking Rachel's ass?
Nice.
And she says, like, what? No, I would never. What? No. What? No.
Thanks, Marky Mark.
Aww. And Delphine's trying to help out by saying she's a con artist. And, like, we don't trust her. It's like, yeah, obviously. And Leakey's like, you know what? Fine. Like, it's okay. And we still want you to do, like, your own work. And we're going to give you your own lab. And she gets a lab. And it looks like a prison.
Yep, it has that kind of vibe to it, that kind of prison vibe.
But Delphine's like, we can customize it. We can make it look however you want.
Mm-hmm.
So, here's hoping. And I'm going to finish up Christina's thing real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And they are excited to, like, and Delphine's making a list. And then it looks like they might have sex in the lab.
Yep, they're gonna do some science.
Not real science.
Science.
Well, is sex science?
Sure.
All right. But then Rachel has to come in and ruins everything.
Yeah.
But, and then she tells Delphine to leave. And this, I love this, like, conversation between the two of Cosima and Rachel. Where Rachel's like, so, you're gay.
It was such, like, I understand what it was in the context, but it just, like I totally wasn't expecting it. It just kind of came out. I was like, oh, yeah.
But then Cosima has, like, a good line, which is, like, my sexuality isn't the most interesting thing about me.
Word.
Yeah.
Tell him. Stick it to the man.
And Rachel points out that, like, some stuff is elevated in her medical testing.
Mm-hmm.
That she has her genome and so that she can research it. And we point out that the original is not useful or somewhere. Who knows? And also they have information on, Rachel wants information on Sarah to find out why she can have a child.
Right.
Which is interesting.
She seems like she really wants to know that information.
She wants to know that information, but it's also, I kind of want to know that information.
Yeah, it's a good piece of information to have.
Yes. Because, it's weird.
It's different.
Yeah. All right. Let's see how Helena's doing. She's not well.
Well, no, she was just shot.
She's never well. But
in any capacity.
There's police there. There's police there, and the doctors are trying to help her out.
Yeah.
And they don't know she is. She's just Jane Doe. And there's a couple of religious people there.
Yes.
And we meet them back at their Amish cult farm.
Yeah. Amish cult farm. That's that's totally okay when you hear that.
Yeah, I don't know if they reveal the main guy's name. Although we meet him when he's, I guess, I don't know what he was doing to that cow.
He was doing something.
Something with a cervix.
Something, yep.
Which is weird, because the one guy put it in his mouth. And I'm like, guy.
That, to be fair, that was before it went up the
But still, that's not
cervix.
That's not sanitary.
No, not at all.
This might get confusing with names, but the guy,
the head guy's name. I might really so it's a creepy guy and the other guy and the head guy.
Yeah.
The head guy's name, I don't know his first name, but his first name is Hendrick.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why.
Okay.
But like it might get confusing.
Yeah, it's gonna get confusing.
And then the creepy guy's name is Mark.
Mark.
He looked less creepy though.
Yeah, not as creepy, but still kind of creepy. Like he still just has that kind of way about him.
Something tells me that like he's creepy just for like presentation speak if he has to do something, but like in the actuality, he seems kind of awkward.
Yeah, just kind of weird dude.
Yep. So we meet them, and then Angie's kind of trying to look into the Jane Doe thing with Helena.
Mm-hmm.
And as she's going to, Helena's not in the bed anymore. It turns out Mark took her, and they're going to the cult camp farm.
Yay.
Hooray. What's the worst that can happen?
We're going to a cult camp. We're going to have a good time.
So then we cut back to Sarah, and she was in the trunk of a car. Now she's out, and the creepy guy is like helping her get out of the car.
Yeah.
Then she's about to fight him, and then somebody grabs her, and it's Mrs. S.
Yeah.
How do we feel with Mrs. S right now?
We're feeling a little shifty about her. Mm-hmm. She's got some secrets that she's obviously not sharing with the whole class.
Yeah.
And we should definitely know because there's some serious stuff going on.
But it turns out the guy's a friend of hers.
Yeah.
And he releases her and then takes the phone and like disconnects the battery and then leaves. So bye-bye.
So long.
And, well, there's one point when like Mrs. Sarah asks whose side are you on, and S says yours, always yours.
Yeah.
So that always intrigued me.
Yeah.
That like she definitely knows something, but like I feel like at the end of the day she's looking out for her kids.
Right.
And then they go on a nice little hike
to
get back to wherever they were, because basically we find like Akira's fine.
Yeah.
He's always fine. She gets hit by a car, she's fine. She gets kidnapped, she's fine. I don't know if it's kidnapped if your grandma, who had legal guardianship of you, took you.
Mm-hmm.
But
sure. A legal guardian can kidnap you. It happens all the time.
That's true. But
the more you know.
Mrs. S basically said that she's the one who ransacked the house because she knew people watching, so she ransacked it, took Kira, and left.
Mm-hmm.
And that they're at their own. With the bird watchers.
Yes.
Which is like her old network, and they're gonna help her. They're gonna help them get out and like be safe. So we meet Brenda and her son Barry.
Yes.
And they seem pleasant.
Sure. They seem fine. Yeah. No, at first they're fine. It's like they're like some old family friends, and you're like, oh yeah, old family friends.
And then Sarah's reunited with Kira.
Yay.
And it's great.
Why does that happen a lot? They're always like apart, but then they're together, but then they're apart, but then they're together.
Well, the first time it was Sarah's fault.
Yeah, it's true.
And
well, it's always a little bit kind of Sarah's fault.
Yeah, but like the first time was because Sarah was just a bad mother.
Yeah, true.
The other times it was people are trying to murder her.
Yeah, that's a good point. You right.
Yep, I know. And there's an interesting like because they reunite and Sarah says like, "Are you okay?" And like here just kind of like, "Yep." Mm-hmm. And you kind of can tell that she's not fully.
She's like here's pretty perceptive. Like she knows when stuff's up.
She knows something. Like here, like wants to tell her Rob something, but knows like they're in public, so like she can't. Mrs. S and Sarah talk about what's the next plan, and basically says we've got a driver. They're going to take us to the airport. We're going to get on a red eye to London. Yeah. And there's only 2 passports, and it's for Kira and Mrs. S.
Right.
And because I guess Mrs. S didn't know that Sarah was going to come, or like wasn't 100% sure.
I think it was more like Sarah has a lot of trouble following her.
So like let's just like I'm going to take her away, and like when you get this sorted out, you and Felix can come.
It's like when it's safe.
Yeah, which is I think that's
it's fair. That's fair. That's fine.
Yeah. So there is that. Let's cut back to Allison, and her and Felix are planning bait for Donnie. Mm-hmm. And the bait is that she needs to go meet up with somebody named Sarah.
Yeah, and it seems kind of urgent.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
So they meet up at Ainsley's grave, and we meet Sarah, and it's Sarah Stubbs, who's in the play.
Yeah, who's in the play, and she's like super nice. So she's just like a total.
She's adorable.
Sweetheart. She's just like a total sweetheart because she's like all like pro.
But Allison. Like Donnie followed her and called Leaky because he said, "I think Allison's meeting up with somebody named Sarah."
Yeah,
and then it's not.
But it's the wrong. Well, no, it is Sarah, but he doesn't know who Sarah is. So like Leaky tells him it's the wrong Sarah.
Yeah, but this is basically, and there's like a conversation between the two of them. This basically like confirms Donnie was the monitor all along.
Yeah.
So, Ainsley died for nothing.
It's just sad.
I mean, she was a bitch, but
Yeah.
So there's that. Cut back to Helena. She's taken out of the hospital. She's taken to this cult farm.
Mm-hmm.
And we meet a redhead woman, girl. She's like
yes,
named Gracie.
Okay,
who seems to be Hendrik's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
and and she's kind of unsure about what Helena is too.
Yeah, she calls her in it.
I think it's like how they're raised. Like they're interesting because you see Tomas.
Yeah.
At like Helena's like bed, and he's whipping himself.
Yeah.
With a belt.
Yeah, he's into that. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, and but they give her food, and it's kind of I kind of find this interesting because like Tomas is like super like no science, just like religion.
Yeah.
And the way that Hendrik kind of works is like we can use science. Like I think the one thing he used with the cow is like it's up to the Lord now. We're just gonna like give him a hand.
Yeah.
That's kind of how he sees it.
Right.
Which is interesting.
He said he went to MIT.
Yeah, he did.
Which is interesting. So
Tomas and Hendrik are having a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're talking about they're like at Helena's side and they're discussing like I don't know how she survived. We find out how Helena survived. Turns out all the organs are on the opposite side of the body.
Yeah, she's a mirror.
Yeah,
which sometimes happens with identical twins.
It's a real condition.
Yeah.
Situs inversus.
Situs inversus.
Which is a congenital condition. It's reversed or mirrored, and there is the big thing is I find it interesting. There's no medical symptoms or complications resulting from the condition.
Mm-hmm.
You might have like the main thing is that you might have some like cardiac problems, and a lot of times it goes undiagnosed. But I found that I didn't find anything about it being like mainly like with twins, although it seems likely.
Yeah.
But famous people with this condition.
Oh, please share.
Enrique Iglesias.
Oh.
Catherine O'Hara.
Okay.
And Donny Osmond.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fun fact.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I love fun facts.
Yep. So that's that. But that's because were you wondering how Helena survived?
Yeah, it was interesting because because sometimes it like they do things like it just barely missed, but like that makes sense. That's like a really interesting kind of way of putting it.
Mm-hmm. So that's that, and we cut back to Sarah at the birdwatcher's place, and it's they're eating dinner, and Barry gets a call from the driver, and he goes out to take it, and either Kira is tired or she's just pretending to be tired,
right?
And so then Miss says to Sarah, take her up to bed, and take a quick nap, and then we'll be off. But then Sarah says to Kira, like, what do you need to tell me? And she's just like, I don't like it here.
Yeah.
And then Sarah shows her the picture. She showed Mrs. S the picture earlier, and Mrs. S was like acting like dumbfounded.
She's like, I don't.
Which we'll get to.
I've never seen that movie before. I don't really.
And then Kira says, I saw Mrs. S saw the picture when she was snooping through Amelia's stuff.
Yeah.
So then Sarah's like, okay, we're going to go.
Yeah, it's like, this is a good sign for us to leave.
Yeah, so then they try to sneak out quietly. We find out that the driver was delayed and that Barry needs to make a call in an hour. And Mrs. S is kind of about it. And then as Sarah and Kira are trying to they get into the truck and they're trying to start it up and then they hear them. And then Barry kind of like runs to get them. Mrs. S is about to run too, but then Brenda holds a gun to her head. And she's like, Brenda's kind of being a bit brutal. Because she's like, she's just a kid. She's just a little girl. And Brenda's like, we were all little girls once. I was like, dang.
Damn. Yeah.
But then the badass that is Mrs. S.
Yeah.
Just like clops her.
Yep.
And like gets like the knife and the carving thing.
Yeah.
And just like sticks her hands.
Pins her down.
It was great.
Through the flesh onto the table.
Oh, it was so nice. And then Barry's finds Sarah and Kira and tries to attack them and get them out, breaking the window, and keeps attacking. And Sarah tells Kira to like hide at one point, which is important.
Yeah.
And as Barry's attacking and Sarah kicks him off, Mrs. S shoots him in the head with a shotgun.
Yeah, he just bam, old family friend, just like that. Like, you betray my family, fuck you.
Yeah, and Sarah goes off in the car, like seeing Mrs. S. Kira doesn't see anything, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, it's good. Keep your head down, child.
Yes, and then Sarah gets away, and I love this shot. Like Mrs. S like comes in, and you see Brenda just like pinned down, and like she's starting to cry a bit, and then you just see Mrs. S like
I think it's like recharge the shotgun thing.
Yeah.
And then you see Brenda's face like knowing like, oh, her son's dead.
Yeah.
And Mrs. S like, why? What's going on? It turns out that they became Proletheans or found God.
They found God, and it turns out that God has deep pockets.
He does. So they basically sold them out to the Proletheans. And then Brenda says, who are these? What's going on? Who are these children? Mrs. S says they're Project Lita, which is important. Mm-hmm. And then Brenda says, I don't know who that is. Good shot.
Yeah. Shot through the heart. And you're to blame, darling. You give up a bad name.
Then we cut to Felix, and he's waiting for Sarah and Kira, and they're about to go on a trip, and he gets a call from Allison, and basically saying, Donnie's definitely my monitor. Can you help me? And Felix is like, I'm going away.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a thing of, like, everybody's just, like, kind of doing their own thing, and, like, nobody's paying attention to anybody else, which is interesting. But we all got our own shit going on. And Allison's probably going to lose it very, very soon. Mm-hmm. But obviously, Sarah, Kira, and Felix are going to just like go somewhere. Mm-hmm. Who knows? I mean, I do.
Oh, I do not.
Well, you'll find out next month.
Oh, goodness.
And so they're going to go away, and then we cut back to Cult Farm. And Hendrik and Tomas are talking. And you see Mark kind of like pulling out a nail gun, and like I think they wanted you to think, cause like they show like a shot of Hendrik with a cow, so I think they want you to think they're gonna put down the cow
because they talk about something about being lame.
They do put down a cow though.
Yeah,
it's just Tomas.
Good riddance.
Good riddance, man. Fuck him.
Yeah,
you didn't care about that.
Nope, did not care about that.
So that's the end of that episode.
Wow,
we got 3 deaths in 1 episode.
That's good. Good time. Good time all around.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty all right here. That was a lot to take in.
It was, but you did it.
Yeah, well, it's so weird because they like introduced and like kind of shot down like this whole like it's not like a society thing, but like a secret kind of like group of people who were like helping people out. And you're like, oh, that's interesting, but like you like saw them in the one episode and they're like out the next episode and you're like, oh, okay. So like that was kind of interesting. And that definitely felt very like singular, and which stands out, I feel like, in this show, because in this show everything always feels like it's following the one plot line, which is always carried over to other episodes, and this one had like that one little thing that like was contained in an episode.
Oh, right, the religious stuff?
Not the religious, the like the bird watcher people.
Yeah, I guess like, but that's kind of like it did lead from like different plot points, and that they're gonna stop that, and now we're gonna go on a camping trip with Felix and Sarah and Kira.
Yay!
What's the worst that could happen?
A lot of things could happen. It could be very bad.
I don't know if there's much else to talk about. What are you thinking about Rachel?
I'm really glad you asked, because that was the one point I wanted to touch on.
Okay, cool.
Rachel is interesting because I feel like Rachel just like went from like 0 to 100 like on the antagonist scale really quickly, because I feel like they didn't really like they teased her appearance like for half a second in like episode 9 of last season. Then she kind of came in episode 10, and then you start season 2 off on the first episode, and now she's like the antagonist.
Yeah,
like it like she like kind of went from kind of like a minor antagonist to like somebody who's like here to somebody like, oh no, this is the person we're worried about. And it felt like it was like kind of the flip of the switch. There wasn't like a single kind of defining moment where it was like, and there wasn't, but there wasn't really like, because it was more like on this leaky guy, and then like this chick shows up, and I felt like it was real like, okay, now we're focused on her, and now she's like, we're gonna act like it was her the whole time we were focusing on in season 1. That really wasn't the case, so it was kind of interesting to me.
I think it's like, for me, they're kind of just like shifting from like just the Proletheans to the villains to like the Neo-Illusionists and like the Dyad community or the villains. Okay. Because it seems like we might want to be like building up Rachel as like a character.
Yeah.
Who knows? Like, I don't think they went from like 0 to 100, because like she always just came off as like a bitch.
Yeah. Well, no, and 0 and 100 has been like the focus on her as an antagonist, because I feel like the focus like went like super fast.
Yeah.
It shifted in a kind of a.
I mean, do you have a problem with that? Or you kind of like.
No, I noticed it I usually praise the show on like good pacing, like building things up really well, and that was a thing that didn't really build up as more, was just like there suddenly. So
I think the one thing that interests me with Rachel is that like she seems really obsessed with finding out why Sarah can have a child.
Yes, I noticed that.
But it wasn't, I don't think it, but like it's kind of clear it's not just because it's interesting.
Right. She's definitely has a personal tie to it.
Yeah. Which, I think is interesting. Do you want to do a quick comment corner?
We don't have any more.
Oh, all right then. We're good.
So, yeah, we read comments on the show, and sometimes we get through them all in a day, and we don't have any right now. But that means you have to go and listen and then leave comments or leave ratings and reviews.
Because that's it that we have for this episode of First Reaction Fan Reaction. And if you want to be on our comment corner, leave a comment on our YouTube channel at wittyclothes.com. Or leave us a review.
Did you say wittyclothes.com?
Wittyclothes.com.
We don't have a wittyclothes.com.
Witty Clothes Productions on YouTube.
Yes.
Or leave us a review on iTunes under Witty Clothes. Also like us or rate us on either of those. And subscribe on YouTube and subscribe on iTunes because that is a thing.
Hell yeah.
You can find us on Facebook at Witty Clothes Productions, and you can like us. Mm-hmm. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
You can follow us on
We like you.
We can follow us on Twitter at Witty Clothes.
Yeah.
And do all that. We are on Patreon if you want to, give us some money. That'd be nice. We have an email, wittyclothes@gmail.com. All right. Cailin probably needs a nap after all of this.
I need like a 12-hour nap.
Yep. It's intense.
Need a coma.
All right. So we'll see you guys. We'll hear whatever next time on First Reaction Fan Reaction. Peace.
Peace.